Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise and really try to give you the essential insights you need. Today, we're jumping headfirst into digital finance. We're looking closely at a company that's, well, making some serious waves, serving a community that's often surprisingly overlooked globally. Okay, let's unpack this. Our Deep Dive today, it's all about Monese. They call themselves a mobile banking alternative. And it really seems crafted for, our increasingly mobile world. Think about it, moving abroad, working somewhere new, even just living between countries. It comes with so many bureaucratic headaches. And financial services, they can be one of the biggest roadblocks. So our mission here is to explore how Monese actually delivers on its promise of financial freedom and simplified money management, especially for foreign nationals, expats, people like that. We'll dig into the key features, the different accounts they offer, and crucially, how it really stands apart from the traditional banks we all know. What are the innovations? What makes it genuinely different?
Yeah, and what's really interesting about Monese is, it wasn't just another app idea someone had. It seemed it was fundamentally built to solve a very specific, very common problem. Millions face this globally. People moving to a new country, maybe for work, maybe study, family, whatever. They often just hit a wall trying to open a simple bank account. They might lack that local credit history or proof of a permanent address. The kind of stuff traditional banks are really rigid about, like utility bills.
Oh, absolutely. It's funny you bring that up. I remember a friend who moved to London, spent weeks just trying to get a simple phone contract.
Yeah.
Why? Because they couldn't get a bank account first.
Yeah.
It was this completely absurd catch-22. No address proof, no bank account, no proper job contract, no job, no permanent address proof. It feels like a rite of passage for expats, doesn't it?
It really does.
So for Monese to specifically target that frustration,
Yeah.
how are they actually getting around those traditional hurdles?
Yeah.
What's the mechanism?
Well, that's exactly where their identity comes in. They're a financial technology company, a fintech. More specifically, they operate as an electronic money institution, or EMI. That's key. Monese explicitly set out, right from the start, to serve those foreign nationals, those expats, the very people who struggle with the old school banks. Their whole pitch is offering financial freedom and a simplified money management experience. They saw that huge gap, that unmet need, and basically built their system around fixing it.
Okay, so if they're tackling that specific pain point head on, I'm really curious, what don't you need to get started with Monese? Because, with traditional banks, the list of required documents can feel endless, impossible sometimes for someone brand new to a country.
Right, and that's where Monese really, really shines. It's honestly a complete game changer for many. And what isn't required is almost more important than what is. So you don't need a credit check.
Wow.
You don't need proof of address like that utility bill we mentioned.
Okay.
And you definitely don't need any kind of local credit history.
Wait, hang on. No credit check and no proof of address. That sounds revolutionary for anyone who's been through that bureaucratic nightmare. So what do they actually ask for then? How simple is it, really, to open an account?
It's genuinely incredibly simple. The whole sign-up process happens right there in the app. It's quick, it's secure, and usually just takes a few minutes on your phone. All you actually need is a valid ID document. Passport works great, for example, an email address, a phone number, and then you do a quick video selfie. That's just to confirm it's really you, and that's basically it.
Wow. Just imagine skipping that whole dance with utility bills and bank statements and proof of this and that. For someone who's literally just landed, maybe staying in temporary accommodation, this must feel like a lifeline. It really pushes towards, actual financial inclusion for people who'd otherwise be completely locked out.
Precisely. Traditional banks, with their, let's face it, often rigid requirements, they end up excluding a huge chunk of the global mobile workforce, or international students, for instance. By streamlining it, removing those specific barriers, Monese makes financial inclusion a reality right when people need it most. It's about meeting people where they actually are, not where these old institutions expect them to be.
It really does sound like a breath of fresh air. But, okay, is there a catch somewhere? Multi-currency accounts sound fantastic in theory. But are there complexities, hidden costs maybe, when you switch between currencies or make transfers?
That's a fair question, and it kind of speaks to the transparency Monese tries to achieve. Users can indeed open accounts in British pounds, GBP, euros, EUR, and Romanian leu, RON. And switching between them is easy, right in the app. The benefit is massive for people living, working, or just traveling across those currency zones. Now, while there might be fees for international transfers to other banks, outside the Monese system, and that depends on your specific plan, the transfers between different Monese accounts, even in different currencies, are typically instant and free. So the catch, if you want to call it that, is more about understanding the different plan tiers and their allowances, which we can get into. It's not really about hidden complexities in the multi-currency function itself.
Okay, that makes sense. And to actually spend this money, they give you a physical card, right? Like a normal bank.
Absolutely. You get a contactless MasterCard debit card. It's practical, works globally, online shopping, in stores, withdrawing cash from ATMs, all the usual stuff. And for an extra layer of security, especially maybe for online spending, some of the plans also offer a virtual card option, which is pretty smart these days, I think.
Yeah, very smart. Okay, now let's talk about moving money. How straightforward is that with Monese? Are we talking slow, old-style bank transfers, or is it more, well, modern?
Well, for local transfers, say within the UK, Monese uses the UK's faster payments system. That means transfers are quick, often near instant, and importantly, they're free. No waiting days for money to clear.
Yeah.
For international transfers, sending money abroad, they generally offer competitive exchange rates. But, like I mentioned, the real standout feature is that transfers between Monese accounts are instant and totally free, even if they're in different currencies.
So just to check I've got this right, if I have a Monese GBP account and my friend over in France has a Monese EUR account, I can send them pounds. It converts instantly, arrives immediately, and costs neither of us anything.
That's generally how it works, yes, within the Monese ecosystem.
That's genuinely impressive. How much of a difference does that actually make for
Yeah.
someone, juggling finances across different borders?
Oh, it's transformative, seriously. Imagine you're an expat, you need to send money back home to family regularly. Or maybe you get paid by an employer in a different country. That combination, competitive rates for external transfers, plus instant free transfers between Monese users, it directly tackles those huge pain points. High fees and slow processing times you often get with traditional cross-border payments. It makes moving money feel, I don't know, almost as simple and quick as sending a text message. It just removes a significant burden, a significant cost from the lives of these global citizens.
Okay, so getting an account, super easy. Moving money, fast and often free, especially within Monese. But what about actually managing your money day to day? Does Monese offer the kind of budgeting tools we see in other established financial apps? Or is it more basic on that front? What does this all mean for your everyday finances?
No, they've actually built some pretty smart money management features right into the app itself. So for example, there's a spending overview. It gives you a really detailed breakdown of all your transactions, categorized, so you can see exactly where your money's going. Plus, you get real-time notifications for every single transaction. So, no more guessing your balance or wondering if that payment actually went through yet.
Okay. I particularly like the sound of the savings pots. I have to admit, I'm terrible at putting money aside unless it's sort of automatic or hidden away. And I heard they have a roundup feature. Tell me about that.
Yeah, the savings pots are great for that. You can basically create little virtual pots to set money aside for specific goals, maybe a holiday, a new phone, or just an emergency fund. And the roundup feature is, well, it's brilliant in its simplicity. It automatically rounds up your card transactions to the nearest whole unit, pound, euro, whatever. So if you spend, say, £2.50 on a coffee, it might round it up to £3 pounds and automatically tuck that extra 50p away into one of your savings pots. You barely notice it happening.
That's clever. A really neat way to save without really feeling the pinch. It's like a modern digital piggy bank, but smarter because it's automated.
Exactly. It just happens in the background. So taken together, these integrated tools, the spending overview, the instant notifications, the pots, the roundups, they offer a pretty comprehensive view and give you active control over your finances. It's not just about seeing your balance, it's about understanding your habits and building savings almost effortlessly. For people who maybe haven't had access to fancy budgeting tools before, or who are new to managing money in a different currency, these features can be incredibly helpful, empowering, really.
And naturally, in today's world, security is just paramount, especially with digital finance. How does Monese handle that? How do they ensure robust protection when they don't have that, centuries-old reputation of a traditional bank? What measures are actually in place?
That's a crucial point, absolutely. For any digital-first service dealing with people's money, trust is everything, isn't it? Monese uses a whole range of pretty robust security measures. For instance, there's single-device access, which means your account is securely tied just to your phone. They use biometric login, so Face ID or Touch ID on compatible phones for quick but secure access.
Right.
For online payments, they implement 3D Secure, that extra verification step you often see. You get those real-time notifications for every transaction, which is great for spotting anything unusual immediately. And they use multi-factor authentication for certain actions, too. It's all about layering different security protocols to diligently protect both your funds and your personal data.
Okay, that definitely helps build confidence. It's good to hear that even though they're digital first, maybe newer, they're taking security just as seriously as you'd expect from, well, a high street bank. Now, we've talked about the core features, but you mentioned earlier Monese isn't just a single offering. They have different plans, right?
Yeah.
For someone considering it, how do they navigate that? What are the main tiers and what's the difference?
You're right. They recognize that different people use their accounts differently. So they offer various pricing plans. Each one has slightly different features, different allowances for things like ATM withdrawals or transfers, and of course, different fees. The most basic one is their pay-as-you-go account. This one's free, no monthly fee. You essentially just pay for the services you actually use. So maybe a small fee for an international transfer, or if you top up with cash, it's a really good entry point, maybe for more casual use.
Okay, the free basic option,
Yeah.
and then it sort of scales up from there.
Yes, exactly. Next up is the everyday plan. This usually has a low monthly cost. It's a sort of low commitment option. But in return, you get lower fees and higher allowances on things like cash top-ups or those international transfers we talked about. It's a good middle ground if you use the account fairly regularly. Then beyond that, they have a cash back plan, which, well, as the name suggests, gives you cash back on certain types of spending, but it has its own specific fee structure and limits you need to check.
And for the heavy users, the people really relying on it day in, day out, I assume there's a top-tier option.
Exactly right. The premium plan is their kind of all-inclusive offering. You pay a fixed monthly fee, but then you get things like unlimited free ATM withdrawals, free foreign currency exchange up to a certain limit, and free cash top-ups. It's really designed for those power users who'd benefit most from having those unlimited allowances.
Okay. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it feels like Monese isn't just targeting individual expats or travelers. Do they have anything for businesses? Or is it strictly personal accounts?
No, they do actually cater to businesses too. Monese offers a business account. It's available for UK-registered businesses, specifically those with a single director. And what's quite convenient is that it lets you manage both your personal Monese account and your business finances all within the same app, so you can switch between them easily. The business account includes features like creating invoices, categorizing your business transactions, that sort of thing. So yeah, these diverse plans from the free pay-as-you-go right up to the premium personal account, and even including a business option, it really allows Monese to cater to quite a broad spectrum of users. It ensures there's likely a solution that fits different levels of financial activity and need.
That gives us a really comprehensive picture of what Monese offers. But I have to ask the big question. For someone like me, maybe more used to traditional banking, is Monese really just a digital version of that? Or is there a fundamental difference, something our listeners absolutely must understand before they jump in?
That is the critical distinction, yes. And honestly, it's probably the most important thing for listeners to grasp, especially if they assume digital bank always means the same thing. The fundamental difference is in Monese's regulatory status. Monese, as we said, is an electronic money institution, an EMI. It is not a fully licensed bank. And that's not just a technicality. It has really significant implications for you as a user, particularly around how your money is protected.
Okay, so let's push on that point a bit then. What are the actual real-world implications of that difference? Does it mean you should approach Monese with a slightly different mindset compared to, say, your main high street bank account?
You absolutely should approach it with an informed mindset, yes. Now, while your money with Monese is protected through something called safeguarding, this is required under the EU Electronic Money Directive and UK Electronic Money Regulations. What that means is your funds are kept totally separate from Monese's own company money. They can't touch it for their operations. It's segregated.
Okay, segregated.
But, and this is the crucial bit, it's not protected by a deposit guarantee scheme, like the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, the FSCS that we have here in the UK. That's the scheme that protects your deposits up to £85,000 if a licensed bank were to fail. EMIs, like Monese, don't have that specific FSCS protection. That's a key difference. Another implication of being an EMI, not a bank, is that Monese doesn't offer things like overdrafts or loans. They focus purely on payments and money management, not lending.
Right. That's a truly vital distinction for everyone listening to really get their head around. So Okay, Monese offers many of the day-to-day services you'd expect and does it with incredible ease, incredible accessibility. But it operates under a different regulatory umbrella, meaning a different type of protection for your funds compared to FSCS, and it's focused squarely on managing the money you have, not lending you more.
It really seems to excel in that specific area. Unparalleled ease of use, that incredibly fast account opening, and the whole suite of services just perfectly tailored for that mobile-first international person. It's clearly serving a need that, frankly, traditional banks often overlook or just aren't agile enough to meet effectively. So let's try and wrap this up. To recap our deep dive today, Monese clearly carves out its own unique space. It's a mobile banking alternative, not quite a traditional bank in the full legal sense. Its features are super accessible, that lightning-fast, low-barrier account opening, the multi-currency support, those handy budgeting tools, they're all clearly designed with the international user, the migrant, the expat in mind. And, crucially, understanding its status as an EMI, specifically how safeguarding differs from a deposit guarantee like FSCS, is absolutely key to appreciating its role and deciding if it's right for you.
Absolutely. I think the core insight for you, our listener, is that Monese demonstrably fills a critical gap in today's financial landscape. It offers a powerful, flexible tool, especially for those whose needs just aren't being properly met by the traditional banking system, particularly as the world gets more globalized and people move around more. It's really a testament to how fintech is evolving to serve very specific communities. But as with any financial service, understanding that specific regulatory framework, understanding the protections and the limitations is just paramount. It helps you make informed choices about where you put your money.
That's a great point to end on. And it does leave us with a bit of a provocative thought, doesn't it? Considering Monese's obvious success with this really targeted approach, how might the traditional banking sector need to evolve? To stay relevant for this increasingly global, increasingly mobile population? Or maybe look at it another way. What other niches, what other groups might benefit from this kind of alternative financial model? One that really prioritizes accessibility and ease of use, even if it means operating outside those traditional banking licenses. It's definitely a fascinating area to keep an eye on. We really encourage you to continue exploring how financial technology is reshaping access and convenience in our very interconnected world. Thanks so much for joining us for another deep dive.